Okay, Goodbye Lenin is a true German masterpiece, and not only did it win and was nominated for numerous awards, including the 2003 Best European Picture, but it also realistically depicts East and West Germany and shows that it's not just black and white. It's not West is good, East is bad. There's bad human qualities in the West, such as greed and big business, greed and, well, mainly greed. And in the East Germany, people are often depicted as hardworking and really striving for social justice. But, so it's really not just like, you can't really say, it challenges that traditional notion of West good, East bad. And, but where I really think it excels is the fact that it's not just a political film, but it really looks into human nature. And by that, I mean, I think Wolfgang Becker's main argument is that we as humans often delude ourselves, and that prevents us from trying to keep up with the times, and we try to live in the past and not come to terms with the changing world around us. And this is clearly illustrated in the film through the story in which Alex is trying to protect his mom from having another heart attack by recreating the DDR and not letting her know that that Germany was reunified. And this is and it's not only that, I also feel like this theme of delusion also ties into the idea of socialism, which I'll discuss in a little bit, which is another key argument that he's making. But anyways, the main scenes that stand out to me in which human delusion and trying to create our own and reconstructing our own memories and understandings of what's happening is throughout the numerous fake news broadcasts that Alex and his friend Dennis make to help continue the elaborate ruse. And the very first one, one of the first ones really stands out to me, that Alex is talking to his mother. There's a scene where Alex is talking to his mother and she's laying on the bed, and she looks outside the window as he's talking to her, and then we see a Coca-Cola banner being hung over a building outside. I thought this was a very clever metaphor for how events continue to happen, and we still try to, and the fact that Alex and Dennis respond to it by saying, "Oh, Coca-Cola was," by making a film saying, "Oh, Coca-Cola was invented by the DDR, it was a East German invention in the 1950s, in which, and then Christine, Alex's mother, responds to us by saying, "I thought it was invented before the war." And in response, the dialogue from Alex really illustrates this reinterpretation of history by saying, "Oh, those Westerners have been cheating us for years." So, essentially, he chalks it up to, oh, it's Western propaganda. And I also find these new scenes really show the artificiality of illustrate that the fact that it's an illusion, especially in the scene where Dennis is preparing to make another broadcast, and the picture on the wall and behind him, it's a very artificial looking set, but the picture on the wall behind him falls off the wall and they have to tape it back up. And the fact that they still report it as news, and Christine still takes it as kind of the truth, kind of shows how far we'll go to ignore reality to a certain extent, and also the fact that how the role that news media, especially it's really a shot at the East German news media, but how the media can influence our delusions by portraying news in a positive light, how they want it portrayed. Because in that same news report, one of the news reports, Dennis was saying, "Oh, the reason there are so many Westerners here is that they're trying to flee evil capitalism, and come to our great socialist society, and they're worried about the rise of neo-Nazism in the West. So it's the generosity of the East of the DDR to allow these people to seek refuge here. So I mean, you really get that aspect of the dialogue. The dialogue in the film was really great, and that it really, especially in that scene, that really pokes fun at that East German media, and how media in general, I think it could be applied to media in general, and how it tries to influence our perceptions, and it helps us in our delusions. And overall, I feel the film also, in addition to its human aspect, it also mourns the fact that socialism in Germany was a great idea, but it was ultimately the experiment in East Germany was an illusion. And I think Becker does a great job with this by having the opening scene, or one of the opening scenes being the police arresting and brutally beating up people, including Alex, causing his mom to have a heart attack in the first place. And the ending scene where Alex brings in the East German astronaut to do an interview, and they make it seem like he's the new president. He's the new president of the DDR, and he makes a report saying, socialism, our system may not be perfect, but we're trying. But our ideal is really good. We are trying to bring humans together. So we really have that humanistic element. That socialism itself it's kind of a shame it failed. It was a great idea. I almost feel like he was like lamenting socialism was basically based on human justice, but the fact that that's not how it occurred in East Germany was interesting. Can be seen if you compare that scene with the police scene and the brutality there. And I also feel like he's also trying to say that socialism was a good idea, and that with the character of Christine, that she's fighting for social justice. But she has the bag that says solidarity with Mozambique, so she clearly emphasizes with the less fortunate and the oppressed, and she and then one scene that really stands out that kind of testaments to this notion is that when Alex and her sister's West German boyfriend have that little argument about the West German boyfriend says, "Oh, you're just like your mother, always complaining. East Germans are always complaining," which Alex staunchly defends his mother by saying, she does not complain. She is trying to improve. She is trying to improve. She's trying to improve society by. Yeah, she's just trying to improve society. She's not complaining, and then so really, and so I feel like he's also arguing that socialism itself was not bad. It's just a shame that it was an illusion and it failed in East Germany. In addition to that, I think it's also a humanistic film in that we really emphasize with the family. It's like universal. It can apply to, we can all appeal to it, and that the universal, that it's essentially a story of a boy trying to protect his mom, his love for his mother, and his mother at the end, when she knows about the ruse and how hard her son's working to maintain it, does not tell him she knows. So it's kind of we really see it's just essentially a family story, a drama surrounding a family, so we can really emphasize with that. Overall, I think this movie was a true masterpiece, I feel. It was a great movie and it really made us think about our nature. That's the really important part, I feel like he's arguing we can't live in the past. We have to keep moving forward, and we see that clearly with all these scenes of, like, the Coca-Cola trucks passing the guards when they're changing. But during the changing of the guard, we see Coca-Cola trucks drive by, and the Coca-Cola banners on the buildings. I feel that was a really effective way of, it was a really effective way of saying, oh, look, we can keep kidding ourselves, but the events are still happening, and whether we choose to accept it or not, and we can't live in the past. At some point, we're going to have to confront this. So it's really emphasizing the coming to terms of the film, or coming to terms of the period. And the film was. I also really loved the balanced view that the film provided. It's not. It also shows like history can be reconstructed, and that we also really kind of gives a balanced feel. It's not just West good, East bad. So that's kind of I think, a really interesting aspect of the film too that helps make it a masterpiece. And yeah, overall, I'd recommend Goodbye Lenin, especially if you want to really look at aspects of human nature that we do not think about all the time.